Hey guys, it's your girl Becca. Alright, so I'm giving you this video because I really like sound waves. I'm lying. I'm doing this to get a good grade. You know that. Anyway, sound waves are actually kind of important, which is why I'm doing this video. Because, you know, we have this entire unit on waves, and half of that unit is about sound waves. So they're kind of important. So, sit up, take notes. I'm gonna break this down for you. Newsflash. So I totally had to change venue and change clothes because, you know, things happened the other day, so, oh well. First things first, mechanical waves. We are not talking about robots. Mechanical waves are basically just waves that pass through solids, liquids, and gases. So, waves in the ocean are mechanical waves. My cool hip-hop wave here are also mechanical waves. And also this bad boy, a mechanical wave. They're just passing through the air. Okay, and of the mechanical waves, there are two branches off. There are transverse waves, and then there are longitudinal waves. Now, transverse waves are like the waves in the ocean, or like a really cool hip-hop wave. They go up and down, and up and down, and up and down, and up and down. Well, yeah, you get it. They have high points called crests, and then they have low points called troughs. I know how it looks in the book, but it's not trough. English is just really dumb, but it's trough. That's how it's pronounced. Trough. Two important things you have to remember when you're looking at transverse waves. Actually, now that I think about it, probably like three things. First thing, wavelength. Wavelength is distance from one crest to another crest. Other thing that you have to remember is frequency. They're really closely related. Frequency is basically how many crests pass within a second in like one place. Okay, like if there's a line here, you want to count how many crests will pass in 1 second past this specific point. And so if the wavelength is long, not many crests are going to pass in 1 second. But if the wavelength is really short, then a whole bunch of them are going to pass. And then the last thing is amplitude. Amplitude is basically like when you say ground zero. Is right in the middle from where the trough is and where the crest is. It's basically the part where like no waviness at all happens. It's like as straight as my arm. Oh, look at that. I changed clothes again. Okay, sorry, just one thing. I totally forgot to tell you about amplitude. Amplitude is basically how high the crest will go at that point, or how low the crest will go. The resting point is that part right there, but amplitude, oh, my camera is slipping. Sorry, my camera woman left when I remembered that this was supposed to be a thing. So I'm trying to do this by myself. Bear with me. Anyway, amplitude is basically how high the crest and how deep the trough will go from that point. So that is like the base. And then you can measure the amplitude by seeing how low the trough is or how high the crest is. Anyway, that is all. Back to your regularly scheduled program. So, last thing I'm going to touch on, longitudinal waves. Now, they're a little different from transverse waves, and frankly, you've been friends with them ever since you got your hand on one of these. You know how fun these are? These things are just... Anyway, longitudinal waves. They're different because instead of doing this whole thing, they go... like, you know, tornado. The wavelength is about the same thing, just a little bit different. Basically, wavelength is compressions and rarefactions put together. Yes, that was my phone, ignore that. But basically, compressions are when all the particles are closer together. And rarefactions, and no, I am not talking about divergent, is basically when they're really far apart. And you can tell the wavelength from compression to compression. I don't know why they're called rarefactions. I really think that they could have just been called, I don't know, like stretches. Like, that's what we called them in math. But anyway, sound waves are longitudinal waves. So this is basically how you hear music all the time. Okay, well, not actually like that, but like you understand, like that's how sound waves move. Longitudinal waves specifically, they move in the same way that the vibration is made, so they're basically like doing like this whole thing. But I mean, without longitudinal waves, you wouldn't be able to listen to the Imagine Dragons album, so you should be thankful. Another thing, the Doppler effect. Now, you know that one moment where you're in the car or you're driving, depending on if you have your license or not. If you do, good for you. You're driving along and all of a sudden you hear, you know, the siren of the ambulance, and then you have a mini heart attack when it suddenly gets really loud, really quick, and then it just backs off again. That's a Doppler effect. And it's actually really cool, but don't take my word for it. If you want to talk to somebody who really loves the Doppler effect, you should go ask Sheldon Cooper. He knows all about that. Okay, so I just now realized towards the end of this video, I only talked about sound waves for a little bit, but it's still important that you know that they are still important. But mechanical waves as a whole are really important because without waves, we wouldn't have the ocean, we wouldn't have slinkies, and we wouldn't have really, really cool dance moves. So be grateful for mechanical waves because without them, our world would be very, very, very boring. So, congratulations, you actually made it through my entire video. If you're actually watching this, I'm honored that you sat through this entire thing. So, thank you again. And now you can celebrate. It's been great. I will see you next time. Okay, so I want to thank, first of all, my best friend Juliet. If you turn around and say hi. She was the one that actually helped me film this, and she's not even in my school, so she needs like a round of applause.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And my other friend here. Say hi.
Hello.
She was moral support. I would like to thank, my physical science book and the Lessons in Connections Academy because I needed to know the stuff in order to make the video. So if it weren't for that stuff, I wouldn't know how to even start with this video. And also I want to thank my teachers, Mrs. Thompson and Mrs. Owens, for teaching me all the stuff I need to know in order to make this video. Wink, wink. I hope that gives me extra brownie point, maybe.